Welcome to our destination series. If you've been here before, thanks for joining us again. And if it's your first time, thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about the British Virgin Islands and our sailing trips. And this is a destination that we can do right now, that we can do in the next few months. And it's a private trip. All of the time, we always run this one with private groups from 2, 4, 6, 8 people, that kind of thing. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you the steps that we would take to go in and out of the British Virgin Islands in the time of COVID. So what I normally do here is share my screen. So over the past few weeks, this is our 8th destination series. We've done the trip calendar, Patagonia, Kilimanjaro, Utah, Everest Base Camp, Machu Picchu, the Alps. And today we're doing sailing. Next week, we're going to do Iceland. And it's been fun to share all of the details on the different trips and what we do. What we do on this trip is fly into the British Virgin Islands. So down here in the Caribbean, off the tip of Florida through Puerto Rico, we're going to make our way. And we're going to go through Puerto Rico into the British Virgin Islands. And when we do that, one of the reasons that we like to go to this destination, there's many destinations for sailing around the world. One of the things that makes the British Virgin Islands and this area in the Caribbean so good is the trade winds. So you can see on this map, you have Puerto Rico here, if you see my pointer, and then there's the US Virgin Islands. The British Virgin Islands are right here next to them, just east of Puerto Rico. So the trade winds that blow down there make it really great for sailing, and the islands themselves have a lot of protected little coves and anchorages that make it really nice to get to at night and explore. It makes it really fun. So historically, the trade winds, this was part of the trade route where they were bringing all sorts of silver, gold, spices from far away to back to Europe, and they were coming through these areas. So these big Spanish galleons would be loaded with cargo, and they would make their way through the Caribbean, and they would use these trade winds to help get them back at certain times of the year back to Europe. So if you see on my right side of the screen here, this pink area down here in the hold, the hatch, they would load that full of all of their cargo and all of their treasures. And that would help make ballast for the boat. They didn't have a big keel sticking out of the bottom of the boat. And it would help the boat be bottom heavy. And it would also have a lot of good storage for their crossing. But as any valued precious items in those days, of course, there was pirates. And we know from, recent movies, like in this photo of Johnny Depp on the lower right, the Pirates of the Caribbean. The pirates were a very real thing in this area, and this is where the pirates really roamed. And they did it for a lot of reasons, because they could take their boats. A typical pirate ship is going to be lighter and faster. So you have a really heavy weighted down Spanish galleon coming along. It's loaded down with treasures, and a pirate ship could then hide in these little coves around the British Virgin Islands and the Caribbean and come out and chase down these large galleons and catch them. And then they would be able to get on board to go down below and take what they had. So it's very interesting. Lower right-hand corner, the pirate with the eye patch. We all know that the typical pirates wearing an eye patch, like a pirate costume. And it wasn't because they were missing an eye. It was because they were using that to be a dark eye. So they could take the patch off when they went down below in the dark quarters down below deck, and they would be able to then see better and get what they wanted and get out and fight guys and everything else. So really kind of an interesting history down in the British Virgin Islands. My history with sailing spans a really long time. I sailed as a kid from small sailboats and everything else. But then over the past over a decade, I've been a US certified sailing captain, and I've had the opportunity to run charters like this in the British Virgin Islands. I've done a number of them there, other areas in the Caribbean, as well over in the Mediterranean, Croatia, Greece, Turkey, places like that. Most recently, as I'm always trying to push myself to do more adventuresome things, I was able to get on a boat that was crossing from the British Virgin Islands through Bermuda and sailed all the way to Portugal across the North Atlantic. So a couple years ago in May, June, I was able to do that. It was 30 days at sea and a really fun adventure. With that, it's really fun to take people down to these places like the British Virgin Islands and be able to sail with them. And on these trips, a lot of times people can learn to sail and learn what we're doing. I teach them how to sail if they'd like to. They're helping out as part of the crew if they want to. So it's as little or little or not as you want to do in a way. I could sail this boat by myself, but it's fun to teach, and it's fun to have somebody go from never having set foot on a boat before, like this kind of vessel, to being able to really stand at the helm and sail and understand the sails and the techniques of all the things that we do along the way. So what I'm going to talk about today is the British Virgin Islands. And this is one of my favorite places to sail for a lot of reasons. The trade winds are really good there. And as you can see from this photograph, there is a lot of islands and areas to explore. And we make our way from, if you land here, you're going to come through Puerto Rico, and you're going to take a small island hopper flight out to Beef Island on the end of Tortola, where my pointer is. And then we're going to set out from Road Town, this big harbor here. And we're going to explore, Peter Island, Norman Island, Cooper Island, make our way to Virgin Gorda, and around. A lot of the times we'll go up the Sir Francis Drake Channel and make our way in this looping pattern around the island like this. So it really depends on the winds and what we want to see. There's more places to explore than we could possibly do in 7 days, but nonetheless, it is amazing. And I really try to kind of decide with the group what's going to be best with weather, winds, and all the other components. So the airport code is EIS, Beef Island in Tortola, and they connect on island hoppers regularly through Puerto Rico. So the best time of year for us is going to be November through the winter months into June, July, and then in August, we start to have potential weather issues during what would be kind of hurricane season into late August for sure, September, October. October, usually the islands are closed down and for the month, and then they get going again in November. So there are a lot of times a year. As far as availability through Worldwide Trekking, I primarily lead these trips personally. So it really kind of coincides with my schedule. And we'll go over when scheduling works for coming up now. And then as far as the future, it's always just important to touch base with us, and we can help you plan out what's going to work between both of our schedules. So Lyle and Doug were going to join me. I don't see them logged on, so I'm just going to keep going. If they log on late, great, or we'll just go through the presentation as usual. If you've been here before, as I say, the show must go on. So we just kind of keep rolling with it. This is a typical anchorage. So basically what we're doing is we're using our vessel to base out of and move from island to island in. We never have to pack our bags. We never have to go in and out. Once we get on the vessel, we stay on the vessel, and then we're going exploring all these coves and reefs and beaches and all these other little things along the way. So we usually hook up to a mooring ball. Sometimes we'll anchor mooring balls. You can see the white balls that are out floating in the water there. Those are prominent throughout. I'll pay for those as we go to spend the night, almost like a camp spot. But we're totally self-contained on the boat. So we don't really need to rely on anybody else or anything else. It's important that we gear ourselves up with options for activities. Kayaking, usually we're always going to get one or two kayaks, depending on the group. We're going to get stand-up paddle boards. We're going to have snorkeling equipment. We spend a lot of time on the beaches, swimming and beach combing. You know, one of the really popular activities, obviously, is snorkeling. I mean, we're basically doing activities at sea. And the nice thing about the British Virgin Islands is the reef is all very accessible. So it's not really, really deep in a lot of areas. So you can explore the reef with a snorkel very easily. There's not a lot of reason to need to scuba dive. If somebody did want to scuba dive, of course, we could arrange for a dive boat to come out and do that. Snorkeling, I think, is what we've always done and what people really love. And there are so many different options. The other nice thing about the reef in the British Virgin Islands, and it's not like this all around the world, it's live reef. So it's very colorful. There's a lot of fish, and it's really an amazing underwater playground. So we spent a lot of time snorkeling in different areas. And a lot of times what we'll do is kind of spend a typical day where we will, there's Lyle. Can you hear me?
Here I am. Can you see me?
I can see you now. Okay, well, I just wanted to, I'll introduce you quick. Lyle and Doug came with me a few years ago. And Lyle, basically, I'm going through the presentation and I'll just refer to you sometimes and you can give some insight. I just got started.
Sure. Sounds good. Yeah, we've been watching. It's been great so far.
Okay. So a typical day is going to be, you know, getting up, having breakfast, and possibly sailing for a little while, then going to an area where we can go to a reef and explore, and then having lunch on board, and then maybe walking around some secluded beaches and things like that. So it's all really, really changing every single day. The big question that we have oftentimes is monohull or catamaran. So I'm going to go through both. On your trip, Lyle, you guys had a monohull.
That's right.
I'll just get your impression of the boat, I guess, since you're on here. What did you think of the boat in general before I go through it?
It was really nice. We had our own room and a nice sized back room and a lot of area to hang out. It was the best to wake up in the morning and jump off the boat first thing. We had most of our meals on the boat. It was like a home away from home.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. So monohull, a lot of people, they kind of stereotype them as being really small, and I think you'll see they're quite spacious. This is a 45-foot monohull that I'm showing. I typically will always get a boat 50 feet or larger, 50, 55 feet right in there. You can see there's plenty of deck space on top or sailing along. Somebody can be sitting outside in the cockpit. And then there's a catamaran. Catamaran is two hulls and wider. You know, with a larger family or a larger group, there is more space, obviously, but I think both are sufficient. On both boats, you're going to have wireless internet, you're going to have air conditioning, you're going to have bathrooms. We'll go through that right now. But again, the key for us is to put people in position to do the activities during the day. Lyle, you guys, I had gone through the snorkeling and I was just kind of saying how great it was. I mean, aren't the activities every day just amazing?
Amazing. I mean, everywhere we went, we saw something new and beautiful, and the snorkeling and the kayaking and the baths. Are those the baths in that picture there?
That's the baths here in the picture. This is the Baths Marine Park.
So amazing. Just all the caves you can walk through and everything was just breathtaking.
Yeah, it really is cool. Sea turtles under the water and everything else. So this is a typical layout. This was a lot like the boat that you guys had. And this is a monohull. So if you can see my pointer here, the cockpit's going to be upstairs in the back, and then all of the deck You walk down the stairs where my pointer is, a few steps to the main area where there's a full kitchen, where there's a salon with a large table, couch area with a desk. It's going to have a flat screen TV. And then I think really importantly, the most important thing is, like Lyle was saying, everybody has their own cabin. And in your cabin, there's going to be a double bed with your own private bathroom. And on this layout, the layouts that we use for both are going to have 4 separate cabins for guests, each with their own private bathroom. And then they can, with cubbies for your swimwear and all your clothes, you're packing pretty light. You are in the islands, and it's very nice. Outside on the monohull, you're going to have a cockpit area like in the lower right, where the table pops up and we eat a lot of meals out there, breakfast and lunches, things like that, dining in the evening. And then there's a swim platform off the back, like you see on the left-hand side. And that boat's actually a little smaller than the ones that we use, but that boat is really large. When you get down below, you see how spacious. This is a monohull, and there's plenty of room, especially for families and friends to have their own private space for sleeping and using the restroom, and then the common areas that are great. And I really like to think the game's kind of outside, like you're saying, Lyle, it's all these places that we're exploring each day. And we try to break it up. Here's one of the bathrooms that's on board, your own sink, shower, toilet, really comfortable. And all the boats that we get are less than 2 years old. So they're really in great shape, and they're really nice and new with all the nice new fixtures. So here's a typical bedroom cabin on a monohull. So you can see this hatch on the upper left goes up onto the area that would be the cockpit area. So, they're not huge rooms and walk around beds or anything like that, but really for sleeping and changing and using the bathroom and getting ready in the morning and that kind of thing. Perfect. Really, we're spending our days outside in the sun. So the other style boat that we use is the catamarans. And when you contact us, when we're going to do a trip, we kind of see the boats that are available, and we pick the boat that's going to be best and give you the pricing. Catamarans are going to be about twice as much to charter for the boat end of it. So they are more expensive, and it's just the nature of the cost of chartering that boat. So you see here, just like either boat, catamaran or monohull, we are just trying to put ourselves in position here. We're anchored up right here. We're taking our Zodiac in to go explore the beach and this really cool little secluded island. On the layout on a catamaran, again, you're going to have a bedroom with a bathroom and some changing room area and private space. You're going to go down the stairs into both one of these both one of the pontoons, both one of the different hulls, and either side's going to go down the stairs. So on the catamaran, you will have single floor space on this whole upper level. And obviously it's wider. You're going to have more deck space out in the front for larger groups and that kind of thing. But I think you can't go wrong with either. Here's the typical layout on a catamaran, and the kitchen, the salon area, and then you can see the back table area that's all one level going through. This area up in here is the helm station. This is where you actually sail the boat from. On the monohull, you sail the boat from the back where there's 2 helms, one on either side. But all the boats we get are beautiful. I definitely am always getting a boat 50 feet or longer, 50 to 55 feet basically. And that's sufficient for groups, up to 8 people. So anywhere from 2 to 8 people, super comfortable. We typically are going to head out from Road Town. It depends when you land in the airport. Sometimes if it's late, we'll spend the night at the marina and then head out the next day. And then we're going to go over to here. I don't know. Do you remember any of these different places? It's been a couple years.
I do. I remember them. And I've just been thinking about it since you asked us to do this. And I have all these memories flooding back. We did spend a night at the marina. Our plane was a little bit late, which is nice. And then we set off early the next morning.
Yeah, and what we do is we're going to sail for a while and then, get to one of the islands, maybe do an activity. Maybe we get to a place where we actually just do activities until the evening. It's really about sailing and moving and then getting to every place is so different is the thing. Wouldn't you agree, Lyle? It's just like
Yes.
every place we go is like,
It was like a new adventure every day.
yeah, we're just cruising around. This is called Sandy Cay, and this is another deserted island there out in the between Tortola and Jost Van Dyke. And again, we're just bitting our boat in position. We grab a day ball and then take the Zodiac in, explore the island, and do the beach activities, snorkeling, swimming, walking around the beach, hanging out. It's just really fun. There's lots of games and things the kids can play on the beach, obviously, just like anywhere, but it's absolutely beautiful. This is on Norman Island. This is called the Caves. And this area was where they said the pirates hid their treasure. And you can snorkel on into the caves, and it's really shallow reef in there, and there are a ton of fish. And again, lower right, we're just getting the boat in position to go exploring around as we make our way around the different islands. So like I said, the first couple days we're down by Cooper Island and Peter Island, and then we'll make our way up to Virgin Gorda. We'll make our way around. Sometimes I stop in the Great Dog. Sometimes we go to the bitter end up at the other end of the Virgin Gorda. Then we make our way around the north side of Tortola and over into Jost Van Dyke. But you can see all of the different activities that we're trying to do are really just trying to get people to explore all these different islands and not really have to move. The boat is super comfortable for us. Like Lyle said, we eat all our breakfasts on there, all our lunches, most of our dinners. And when we do go out for meals, a lot of the times I think people actually would have preferred to just stay on the boat. It's really beautiful, and you're right on the water, and it's super fun. So we're trying to put ourselves in position as we move around. So yeah, the catamaran or the monohull, it doesn't matter terribly. If you contact us, we can go through the details of the different boats that are available and then see what's going to be best for your group or family. Lyle, is there anything else that you want to add about the sailing experience? I think this was your first time doing something like this, right?
It was for both Doug and I. And I just remember clearly learning so much about sailing and how you taught us so much and let us help sail the boat, which we both thought was so neat because the winds were heavy. It was August, you remember. So it was like early hurricane season. So we had some really fun weather to sail in, and it was just such a great adventure.
And
I
we
mean,
went in
I
August.
remember the snorkeling was just incredible.
We went in August because it was your honeymoon, and you guys had just gotten married. And was it August 17th?
Yeah, August 13th. Yes, good
13th.
memory.
Okay,
I think
thought
we
it was
got there on the 17th.
so mid-August, and it was fine. I see you have a new addition to your family. Congratulations.
We
to
do.
that.
Little baby Evan, she's 4.5 months old.
All right. Another little pirate there.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, she'll be with us next time. I just remember the snorkeling was the best. I think you took us to a place called Monkey Cay.
Monkey
Is that
Point.
Monkey Island?
Monkey Point. Yeah.
Point. And there was the most incredible snorkeling there. We spent hours in the water, and it was
Huge
just
fish. Yeah, and that's the thing is like it's really difficult over the course of the week to get to every place that you would like to get to, but every place you go is unique and fun and is really a great adventure. We do have this like Zodiac, and like a lot of the times these are used to go into the beaches, get people to go to certain snorkeling areas or just go off on their own. And I think it's like with our group, with our trip, we have a kayak, a sit on top kayak that holds two people, paddleboard, that kind of thing. So, once we get the boat in position and we are moored up for the evening, then it's like everybody taking off and going and looking around and just having a really fun time. You know, the swimming, the water is beautiful. The temperatures are beautiful. A lot of great sunsets and a lot of great sunrises for sure. And I think that that's part of the nice thing of being on a boat. Like you say, you're so connected with the water. You're jumping off the back of the boat all the time, first thing in the morning. Not like staying in a hotel room where you got to go down and out and make this big production to go into the beach. You're kind of on the water right there. Yeah, these are just some other pictures of the British Virgin Islands and where we go. And I think if you notice, you know, a lot of them are really quiet, and that is the nice thing about the BVI. And I did want to mention, and Lyle, I was going to go over a couple things, and I really appreciate you guys joining me on this. And I know you got on a little late. I didn't get to introduce you as normal, but I want to talk a little bit about being able to go to the BVI right now and the COVID restrictions and how we can still go there at this time. The COVID restrictions in the BVI are, it's a level 1, it's low COVID restriction. And I know that this is something that a lot of people are, of course, thinking about right now. And the nature of our trip is, you know, very much like on our own, in our own living space, moving transportation from island to island. We don't really interact with a lot of people unless you choose to go into a crowded restaurant or bar. And I know that right now the BVI is quite quiet. So there's protocols to go through, and I've simplified them a little bit, and I'm just going to go through them myself here. So I kind of rewrote this up here, but basically you need a COVID test 3 days before you depart on your flight into the BVI. And then you're going to get what they call the Gateway Portal app. And then you're going to register your test results on that app, download your document kind of thing. You'll have to have proof of medical insurance. And then you're going to land in the BVI, and in the airport, when you clear customs, you're going to take a COVID test. They give you a little tracker, and you can go to the boat. The boat is an approved quarantine basically area where we would have to be for 4 days, which we're going to be anyway. And on our boat, we're going to have our tracking device, which is fine. Within the next 4 days, we sail, and there's a number of places to go to. We sail all around, and then 4 days later, we go back into one of the harbors, Nanny Cay, and we normally have to do this anyway. I normally have to go into one of the marinas and put fresh water on board, else we won't have water to shower with or clean with. And then I have to buy some provisions. And at that time, you would take a COVID test right there at Nanny Cay. It's all arranged through the app. It's paid for through the app. And then I had talked to some guys that recently did it, and they said they did the whole thing at Nanny Cay in less than 35 minutes. Very efficient with what they're trying to do down there. Say it takes us an hour. It's going to take me an hour to get provisions for the boat and put the water on board and deal with all of the stuff I have to do regularly at that time anyway. So then once you get that second COVID test, we just set back out and continue on. Then that test is going to be good for the test that you need to get back into the United States with. So although the British Virgin Islands requires that test after 4 days, once you have that test, that's so someone could go intermingle anywhere in the islands and all the public areas and things like that that they want to. After that, if people wanted to go to beach bars and rub elbows with people and hang out like you know, there was no problem, that would be possible. It really depends on the group. I think you see from the nature of these pictures that what we try to do is avoid the crowds and avoid the groups anyways. The British Virgin Islands on a typical year can be quite busy, and we're trying to get to these remote areas and negotiate our way around crowds. So it's actually really nice at this point, if we get down there, to be able to explore some of these places, like the baths. To be there and be with no people, you know, is a really great thing. So basically, if you look on this map, all these little numbered areas, these 14 spots are the places that we can go within the first few days. So, you know, there are more than enough places to go explore around and see all these different areas. And why they have these the first 4 days is because these areas aren't where there's a lot of population on the beach, and they're just trying to spread people out. So if you have questions about how we would negotiate COVID in the British Virgin Islands, it is a very quiet trip when it comes to being in close proximity to other people. And I think that what we're looking at is our dates are quite flexible. I do have to have my schedule open for them. This spring break and into the early summer, like into June, I have flexibility. We have dates April 18th through the 25th, April 27th through May 4th. But really, we can be flexible any day on a 7-day trip down there to fly in and do our sailing trip and then fly out. So I am going to take questions now. I usually take questions at the end. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, see if I have any questions. That doesn't look like I have any questions right now. So Lyle, do you have anything else to add? I feel like I didn't get to talk to you much because I got going right away.
Yeah, sorry, we were a little late, but I highly recommend this trip. I mean, we felt so safe the entire time. And we just had so much fun. We were there when there was not a lot of people either. I think it was the time of year.
Yep.
And we pretty much had every place to ourselves. I mean, the moorings were empty and the restaurants. So we really thought we were there at a good time. But we loved it. I mean, the sunsets and the sunrises and snorkeling, every day was a new adventure, and it was just the best. It's some of the best memories that we have together by far.
I'm just going to ask you a couple questions because I know that I get common questions when we do this trip. You guys didn't have any problem with seasickness, did you? Or what were your feelings on seasickness? A lot of people ask me about that.
No, we didn't. The boat's pretty sturdy, so there was not a lot of seasickness. Even when we were down below, it really didn't feel like you were on a boat. It was very comfortable.
Okay. Yeah, that's when we get a lot. I mean, there are ways to prevent that. You know, they wear a little patch behind their ear, and there's obviously like Dramamine and things like that.
Right.
But typically one thing about this is it's line of sight sailing. So we're never, you know, unless we go to Anegada, which I don't do too often with people because they want to do more activities. You can see the islands around us. So you're not off at sea where you are looking 360 degrees and can't see anything but water. You know, you can see the islands that we're sailing by and the islands that we're sailing to. So that makes it for comfortable. I think with first timers, they're thinking like, they probably just think of these like sea wreck stories or.
Yeah, it was nice being able to see land the whole time. And we had a great captain, so that helps.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining me. Congratulations on your new addition to the
Thank
family.
you.
And
Thank you for asking me to join. I feel very honored. This is a really neat thing that you're doing.
thank you. Well,
Yeah.
We'll be in touch, and hopefully I'll catch up with you guys soon. Thanks everybody
Sounds great.
for joining us this week. If you do want to talk at all about the British Virgin Islands sailing in the Caribbean or anywhere else, this spring we can do the British Virgin Islands, and we're looking forward to get back to travel soon. Thank you, Lyle.
Thanks.